Today's episode of Northern Lights is presented by North Star Law Group, your trusted partner in Minnesota's burgeoning legal cannabis industry. Whether you're just starting out or looking to expand, attorney Jen Riza and her team will help you understand the latest developments, scope out risks, and find a compliant path forward in this rapidly changing field. Visit northstarlaw.com and let North Star Law Group guide you through the legal landscape with confidence.
And we're back.
Another episode of Northern Lights. Wow, Steve, happy summer.
Thank you. Happy wedding month.
Yeah, oh my gosh. We're here with sort of a mini Midsummer update in our new studio, hanging out and enjoying the summer.
I see a lava lamp.
I know, lava lamp, we got some plants behind us.
Shout out to the Dabbler Depot. Jordan, Kale, the entire team that's helping bring us together. It's so good to see you. I haven't seen you
I know.
in a while.
I think people sometimes assume that we like hang out all the time between episodes, and actually we don't talk except on camera. We come in here, we're silent. We press play, and then it's, hey, good to see you.
Great to see you.
Yeah. But truly, it has been quite a while. It's been a busy summer. The school year ended for me a couple of weeks ago. It's been sort of filling into my new role and figuring out, what does this look like? So,
Yeah.
How has your summer been so far?
I mean, really, let's start July 1st, because I think maybe end of June, but it's been really good. The weather's been wacky.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm just trying to live like the weather. Like, it's been a lot of extremes.
Mm-hmm.
Late nights, early mornings, working like 3 jobs right now.
Okay.
Trying to stay in the cannabis industry. And, but honestly, the highlights have been going up north a little bit, like near Garrison.
Okay.
And my fiance is pregnant, so she's getting close. And
congratulations.
She's really getting big, and that's kind of fun to see. It's a lot. Also planning a wedding.
Okay, yeah.
But not nearly at that nearly there kind of level.
Yeah, because so people should know this episode will be coming out on Monday the 21st, right around there.
Yeah.
I'll be getting married in about 6 days. So
okay.
Yeah, coming up to pretty close here. But
the wedding will not be live streamed.
No, unfortunately not. No.
But
wow, could you imagine, Sarah? I know we don't really have a videographer, but I think we should get one so they can live stream it on the Minnesota Cannabis College YouTube page. That'd be pretty sweet.
I saw Matt Adams this week.
Okay, all right, there we go.
He was shooting some content.
Tanner's wedding brought to you by Bovida. That'd be pretty cool.
I do owe them one more event, so
there we go. Wow. Well, in all seriousness, it's been such a busy summer. Our last episode came out right before that social equity verification process really opened. We went and recorded the workshop. We posted that on the YouTube page. Hopefully y'all saw that. Hopefully y'all filled it out. And now we're just like 5 days away from that application window opening for the full-time applications.
Wow. And from what you heard, last I'd heard, 3,000 plus social equity applications. Did it get further than that, do you know?
So I haven't seen the updated numbers. What's sort of funny is one of the ways that we were getting those numbers is because the state's website where people were applying for a short period of time allowed you to see how many people had submitted those applications.
Yeah.
You couldn't see them, but it had the numbers. They've since corrected that. So our ability to sort of check in on that, slightly limited. But yeah, it has been interesting seeing that there were thousands of people across the state of Minnesota that not only said, hey, maybe I qualify, but actually took the steps to begin that application process.
Right. Yeah, and maybe even beyond Minnesota.
Yeah.
And maybe not all 3,000 unique individuals.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I'm very curious to see sort of what the next couple of weeks look like. We mentioned that application period open, so people hopefully are working on those applications, but...
So they're live now. It's like a published application.
Yeah. So another thing that's happened since the last time we met, we released like a workbook, sort of like a guide to help people through it. The state released their own version, suspiciously similar, but it's okay. It's okay. It's really a great guide. Walks people through everything you need to submit in pretty great detail. And it's been interesting seeing the limitations they put on the application. Where go to places like Arizona. Applications were hundreds, if not thousands of pages long. Here, your entire security plan has to be 4,000 characters or less.
4,000 characters.
Yeah,
how many is about a page?
So that's about a page and a half.
Oh my gosh.
So your entire security plan can't be any longer than that, maximum.
They're trying to minimize the fluff.
They are. And if you think about it, their role isn't to evaluate how good is the application. It's just to evaluate does it meet the minimum qualifications. And I guess you don't need 200 pages of detail to fulfill those minimum qualifications.
Right.
You basically just need, do you have a plan in place for this? Okay, you do.
Okay.
Here you go.
Right, because we're not even at the starting line.
No. We're so early on in the process where, like, there are people that applied for social equity verification. It is now the 19th of June, that's when we're recording this, that have not yet gotten verified. We're also 5 days out from that application window opening.
Sure.
So we're not leaving people a ton of time to get verified and submit an application.
And then from the 24th, I wanted to ask you, is it 3 weeks, 4 weeks? How long is that window open? 5 weeks?
August 10th is when it closes.
That's not much time.
2 weeks.
That's right. That's right. So if you're in between stages right now, you're probably freaking out a little bit. Your time is limited.
Yes. So I very gratefully have been able to start a new job, no longer teaching, now helping someone sort of through that application process.
Okay.
And yeah, it's been literally digging through the 7, 8, 9 part PDF document.
Yeah.
Looking at all the different provisions, seeing how much detail can we provide in that 4,000 character limit.
Yeah.
Getting a plan in place.
Interesting.
Because we know that in 5 days, that application is going to be able to be submitted. And 5 days plus 2 weeks, you can't submit it anymore. Yeah, there are additional rounds, but that pre-verification, that initial, perhaps ability to start growing, you can only have that once.
Yes, that runway, that early to market runway that we're talking about. I think it's really interesting. Let's cut here. Let me see if I can find it. Wow, it's just, what we've done in the last 3 months, although we haven't been on camera as much, the commitment that you and I have both shown to the industry to learn more and to dig in deeper to better understand. Yeah. It's remarkable. I often don't even realize that almost every waking moment I'm doing something cannabis related.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think it occurred to me most the other day when I was at a wedding of one of Sarah's family members. So we're chatting, just like generally, what do you do in life, blah, blah, blah. Finally found one guest who was interested in talking about cannabis. And it was like, cool, well, now I know who I could talk to. Had that conversation, felt super natural. And then it's like, well, what else do I know how to talk about? And I have sort of realized that I've been living, breathing, figuratively, cannabis for the past how many months, years, whatever, that watching this industry get up to this point that, like, oh man, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day about once that application is submitted, like, what am I going to do then? Like, we're sort of going to get to this other side where then it's just like sending your ship off into the water and being like, well, I hope you reach the other side. I hope you come back to me with a license. And
you know what it is that I remembered my thought now.
Yeah.
So it to your analogy, it's more of like a message in a bottle. That we're entering ourselves into the lottery.
Yeah.
Or for this example, and then the lottery process is really fascinating because you're just waiting. You're just at another stage. If once you've entered your application.
Yeah.
And then the chances of you winning is, I don't know what the odds are going to be.
Totally.
Right?
I've been role-playing through my mind as a micro business owner. Obviously, not a social equity applicant. I'm not able to apply this round. But if I were, trying to think through, like, what does that actual process look like? And, I mean, there's going to be 100 micro business licenses that are going to be given out for pre-approval that will be able to start cultivating perhaps in a couple weeks here. And to be one of 102 businesses in Minnesota legally cultivating cannabis that can be sold to people with high levels of THC, is going to be one of those times that at no point again in this industry will we ever have such a bottleneck where, you know, I don't even know what the price per pound is going to be like for the first couple of weeks or months of this industry when you got one of 100 people to buy from. You got one of 25 cultivators. You got one of, X number of mezzo businesses. we're at a point where there's going to be less than 200 businesses that can legally sell adult use flower for the first couple of months, and to have one of those meal tickets,
Yes.
it could be the difference between, like, I think
You still have to do a lot of other things
Totally.
right.
But that first mover's advantage, I keep hearing, I'd rather be the Uber than the Lyft.
Sure.
And,
Sure.
you know, there's a lot that goes into being the Uber. You got to figure it out. But at the end of the day, when I pull up my phone to get a ride, my first thought is I got to call an Uber.
And it's the social, it's the ubiquitousness of
Absolutely.
saying Uber.
Totally.
I'm taking an Uber. I take Ubers even when I'm in a Lyft.
Totally. What's going to be the Minnesota brand that's going to be recognizable out of state as, like, oh, that's the Minnesota one? Like, there are certain brands I see and it's like,
Sure.
oh, that's from Denver. Like, I know that. Or like,
Sure.
that's from Colorado or California or Michigan.
Yeah.
What's going to be the Minnesota first to sort of break through the noise?
So it's weird. We're at this place, and I'm picturing it in my mind where we're not quite there yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I also would say we already exist.
Yeah.
You know, we're somewhere between 13 and 17 years old. We're allowed to go to the PG-13 movies.
Oh yeah.
We're not allowed to the adult stores.
Mm-hmm.
But you can go to co-ops. You can go to restaurants. You can go to CBD shops, or I'm not going to call them what they like to be called because it would just be too confusing.
Totally. I get it.
But if you're new to this podcast, or if you're new to the Minnesota market, we have an amazing market here because we're allowed to sell low-dose hemp-derived edibles.
Absolutely.
And so when you ask me that question, I have to say mini-grown. Mini-grown is in Nevada, it's in Arizona, it's in these places, and you see their new packaging, and they go out and they know distribution, and clearly their product's being eaten by people because otherwise they wouldn't keep marketing it newly.
That's interesting. You know, I think you're right about that, and I've not really thought. You know, I think I have to keep reframing my brain of cannabis is flower and concentrate sold through a dispensary to cannabis is products you can buy at a coffee shop or products you can buy at a co-op, or where I agree with you that mini grown you can buy in other states. I have been out of our state and been like, wow, I know this brand. That's from where I'm from.
Mm-hmm. And Minnesota set the tone or opened up the market, played a large role. But now other folks are experiencing that coffee shop, co-op, CBD store.
I think one of the strange things that makes it different is, like, you know, 710 Labs, just for example.
Yes.
You see them in Minnesota, not in a licensed store, but on that legacy side.
Yes.
I think mini grown, the reason I didn't even think about that is because you don't buy them on the legacy market in any state. You walk into a liquor store and you buy them. And
it doesn't appeal to you or I, per se.
Yeah.
Now, liquor stores, liquor stores are just crushing. You see all these data points that come up, and it's like, basically all you need to know is THC is taking up way more percentage of revenue for liquor stores than it was a month ago, 3 months ago, a year ago.
Absolutely. Well, another change since we were last on, bars can now have THC on tap. And I think we've been seeing a lot of places where you're like, wow, that's a pretty big change, where you're not having to do everything can-based, but now get like the discounts that come from doing beverages on tap.
Yes.
But applied to a THC product.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's been
there's a first mover advantage there as well. Yeah. Shout out to Bob Galligan for fighting for that law.
Yeah, absolutely.
He came on the podcast early in the session and talked about it, said that was a priority for him. And now we just need to arrange the keg stand.
Yeah, exactly, right? Coming to a podcast near you.
We're doing an after party for the Garrison Hemp Fest at this spot called the Green Lantern.
Okay,
it's in Brainerd. Cool. It's a bar. And we're going to have local meats, local eats, and maybe we'll have some local kegs.
Cool. All right. So we do have other news that I want to get to.
Yes.
You mentioned the Garrison Hemp Fest, and I feel like we should chat a little bit about that sort of in this in-between before we get to our next story. So when I first met you, you were like the events guy. I knew you. You were at events or you were coordinating events. One of the two, like all the time.
Yes.
There's been so many awesome events that people have heard of. Canna Connect is one that just like sticks out in my mind. But there's been so many others throughout the state of Minnesota that I've been to that you were sort of the guy behind.
Dude, we had such a good time in Brainerd.
Yeah. Brainerd sticks out to me as one of those where like people kept coming in and looking around and being like, oh my God, like there's so much cannabis here.
Right.
Welcome to Minnesota these days.
Yeah, like Native Care showed up.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was cool.
So you're going to be in Garrison.
Garrison is like an hour and a half from here.
Okay.
It's dying.
Okay.
It's it has a hard time with tourism
Mhm.
because the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe have the rights to fish walleye
Okay.
for most of the summer. So what was a great fishing tours town has really had to pull back.
Okay.
You're also dealing with climate change, global warming, where we're not getting as much snow in the wintertime. So the ATVs, that winter tourism, I mean, these are serious topics that small towns deal with.
Absolutely.
One of the vendors that was at the Brainerd event, Charlie's Farm, was super hype on doing another Brainerd event.
Okay.
Was really like stirring the drink to try to get us to, hey, when's the next one? We reached out to CC's, which was the bar that we had the event at, and they were like, yeah, but maybe later, down the road. And we're like, okay, but path of least resistance. Where can we go next?
Absolutely.
And so we utilized Molly from Charlie's to stir up interest in Garrison. And they said, we need more hospitality. We need more tourism in our town.
Cool.
We'll consider cannabis.
Okay.
What do you got?
I dig it.
Yeah.
I love sort of the story of a town looking for like what is something new they can turn to, and seeing cannabis not as like, oh, that scary thing we need to be fighting off, but hey, what if this is potentially a new opportunity for our community?
And there are a lot of misconceptions in that area, but we're coming at it through education. We're partnering with the Garrison VFW.
Oh, cool.
The Garrison Commercial Club. And we're even working with the Crow Wing County Drug Task Force.
Okay.
And we're also working with STS Security, Mark Randall, a Canna Connect alum, a guy who showed up to Canna Connect a couple of times, brought his wife, learned, got educated, started a business, and is now a partner of ours. I mean, we're hiring them as our security team.
That's cool.
And it's going to be really cool because as a former cop who's a cannabis user, he wants to show other cops existing in his previous field that this is not where the boogeyman lives.
Cool.
And so we are working to destigmatize cannabis. We're doing it in Crow Wing County. We've talked about Crow Wing County on the podcast.
Absolutely.
But we got a special permit from the city council to throw an event. So we got an event permit. We told them what we were going to do. And because we're doing it in Garrison, on private property, there's Crow Wing County understands.
That's cool. I mean, I think it's really cool to see so many people, opening arms to cannabis that maybe in the past were a little bit more skeptical towards it. So.
Yeah, 5 milligrams at a time, 4 milligrams at a time. We're dealing with a few things that we have to work out, but we are getting ready to announce our diamond sponsor, our opening sponsor, which we're super amped about. It's a local brand in that community, and that's important. So if you're a Central Minnesota resident, if you're a Central Minnesota business owner, we want to have you as a vendor. If you're a Minnesotan, we want you to come out to Garrison Hemp Fest. It's going to be all day long, local food in the morning, local food in the afternoon, after party in Brainerd.
Cool.
It's going to be an all-day thing. We want people to stay the night. We've got lodging. We have great options. Like, you can stay relatively affordable up there. Like, get a cabin, stay for the night.
All right.
Yeah, there's plenty of property. Like, Garrison has a lot of potential. It's the smallest town in America that has a McDonald's.
Okay.
Yes.
That's going to be on the event shirt. No.
Should we reach out? No. Bad beef. Bad beef.
Wow, but no, so that's cool. So just to fill people in again one more time, what's the dates on that? And then where can people go to find out more information about it?
Awesome. Yeah, GarrisonHempFest.com, August 10th. We're just trying to get an 8 out of 10. We don't have to nail this event. It's 8-10. I'm just shooting for a B-. Like, give me a chance. Let's try something new. If it goes well, we'll do it again next year. We have sponsors. We're looking for more vendors. Let's go. It's going to be great. It's going to be sunny. And if you come, you can go out on Lake Mille Lacs that day, or you can go up to Crosby the next day. Like, let's make this a weekend up north.
I dig it. Well, that'll be a fun time, man. I really have not had a bad time at a single event that you've thrown. I've been going to them for years now. Looking forward to this one. It'll be another fun one.
Shout out to Luke McCabe's.
Yeah, absolutely. Luke. We'll put a link to the website for this in the show notes. So if people want to get tickets, they can go and check that out. And
awesome.
Come on out to Garrison. Thanks for answering my biggest question, which is, where the hemp is Garrison?
We'll have the Minnesota Cannabis College out there. Details to be announced. We're going to do a great job. We're working with national brands to bring awareness to home growers and the Minnesota market. There's a lot of people interested in the Minnesota market, but let's keep it Minnesota.
Cool. I love it, man. Well, so you said Garrison's like an hour and a half outside the Twin Cities?
Right.
All right, so we're going to talk about something else that's roughly about an hour outside the Twin Cities that has also happened since our last episode. On our last episode, we plugged Island Pezi, the new dispensary down on Prairie Island Native Reservation, was opening, and now we're on the other side. It has opened. Woo! Steve, have you had a chance to check it out yet?
I tell you what, I was feeling interested, and I saw you went to the soft opening.
Yep.
And then they had the grand opening, which was well attended. But then there was some controversy around the products.
Oh yeah.
And it dissuaded me from wanting to get out there and buy it. But I do have a question to your question.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Do they sell gas?
Oh, such a great question. They do. Yeah, it is also attached to a gas station, which is pretty great. I hope they lean into that marketing a little bit more.
Yes, yes, they have the gas.
They do have the gas, and then they also have some flour as well.
Okay.
But yeah, no, so it was really interesting going out for that soft opening. So they had, before their grand opening, a couple of days, they let people come in and sort of see what products they had. I got some flour, which came actually from White Earth, grown locally here in Minnesota. And then the only other products that they had were edibles, available basically at every other place in Minnesota. Carpe Diem, shout out to them.
Oh, wow.
Their products out there.
Yeah.
You could get a You Betcha bar outside of the
Those are good.
Pezi dispensary. Yeah, stuff we've tried on this podcast. It was cool to drive down there and be like, oh, I know these guys. And then also to get some flour that actually I think we're going to be trying a little bit later in the show.
Yeah, so that's from northern Minnesota area.
Yeah, so this was grown by White Earth and then sold to Island Pezi that they were selling there.
I like that trade.
Totally. But then, yeah, as you mentioned, I went back for the grand opening, which was about a week later. And in between the soft opening and the grand opening, they had other products available for sale, including a variety of carts and also like concentrates, so like THC oil. The controversy that you mentioned that I thought was really interesting is available on their website with no information. You would go into the store, you'd buy it, you'd go home and say, great, I got a cart. There wouldn't be a ton of information on it. The packaging had like a batch number, but no information on where to find information about that batch number. You do enough Googling and you find out, oh, this brand is actually available for sale just like to anyone online. The reason being is that most of the carts are D8 carts or THCA products.
So they had those two strains per se.
Exactly. So they had D8 carts that did include little bits of other cannabinoids, but with mostly D8. And then they had oil that was for sale. I mean, it was no different than like other distillate or batter that you can buy, but it's no different than what you can buy semi-legally online and have delivered to your door.
What a setback in expectations.
Yeah, and I think like, so when you know enough about cannabis, you realize the dividing line between hemp and adult use really is sort of man-made. But I think this is different, where when you walk into a dispensary and you're buying a cart and you're not given a ton of information about it, and then you eventually find COAs that show that it literally was just D8, I would be sort of disappointed just because, you know, nothing against D8. I think there's a lot of people that find value from that in their life, but that's not what I bought.
It just seems like so 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Absolutely. Buying batter that, I mean, I'll be honest, pretty decent prices, $50 for 2 grams.
Okay.
Not terrible
Right.
for like first day availability, especially being the only place that can legally sell it in Minnesota. But,
you know, the pushback though, to my own point, it is hard to make those types of carts.
Sure.
That is the most refined product that you can get.
Absolutely.
And so if they're upstarts rushing to market,
Totally.
that's the most intensive product to produce, right?
Absolutely. And so I understand how flour grown by White Earth you can buy, they can bring here. Nothing wrong with that. White Earth hasn't yet started making concentrates, so we just don't have that availability in the state. Now, let's sort of give the full side of the story. So by the time I went for the grand opening, I had seen the post on Reddit about this. I had sort of known, I know this is THCA, I still want to try it. And I'll be honest, I got some of the super proof. It was great. I thought it was decently pretty good stuff. They were telling people when you said, hey, I want to buy this, they'd say, all right, just so you know, this is hemp derived. This is, when people were buying the carts, they were saying this does have Delta 8 in it, just so you know.
But this had already broached Reddit.
Exactly. So it appears either people weren't told when they bought it on those first couple of days before the grand opening.
Yeah.
And then they fixed it by that point. Or maybe someone misunderstood or something. But at the end of the day, I, as a consumer, looked on their website and I went, oh, carts for sale. They must be similar to other adult use products. And it's just disappointing to know that they weren't. And yet, they had said by August, White Earth plans to have processing online. Mm-hmm. They plan to have concentrates and carts available made here in Minnesota with flower grown here in Minnesota.
Okay.
But as of right now, if you go buy those carts, the flower wasn't grown in Minnesota. We don't, as far as I don't know where it was grown.
Right. Yeah, so stick to flower. What I wanted to ask earlier, but we got stuck in Garrison.
Yeah, no.
How much is an ounce? Where are flower prices at right now?
So day one, if you walk in that door, ounces were about $400 a piece. They've settled down. They're now about $240. Still more expensive than an average dispensary.
Okay.
But compared to the first month of Colorado dispensaries being available, way better pricing. This was an eighth I got of some high society 18.6% THC. Okay. This was $45. So more expensive than this is not going to be my new source for cannabis. However, if I, had a friend who was in town, they had a car, they were looking to go on a drive through some beautiful parts of Minnesota.
Yeah.
Maybe get some weed along the way. It's not
Island Pezi.
Yeah. So I think at the end of the day, am I as concerned by the controversy as I think some people on Reddit were? Personally, no. Do I still think it's a misstep by the tribe early on? Yeah, probably is.
Wait a second. You're telling me that you personally are not as inflamed as some of the Redditors in the MN Trees community?
And with that, we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.
In Minnesota's summer, warm and bright, nature's beauty is a wondrous sight. Amidst the trees, where shadows dance, comes a moment of blissful trance. The sun-kissed leaves, the breeze so light, enhance the senses, a pure delight. In this land of lakes and forest deep, cannabis from native care, my soul to keep. So here's to summer in Minnesota fair, where troubles fade into the air. With nature's gift and cannabis true, I find peace in the summer's hue.
The marker that I was using to estimate how large the community was in Minnesota has doubled in the last year and then in the year previous to that.
Oh, yeah.
And so let's pay keen attention. Let's be keenly aware of how many people are coming out to these events as we make them more and more accessible, because we will continue to see doubles or quadruples. If you build it, they will come.
Absolutely. Wow. Well, that's a great note to go in on. Steve, there was some pretty exciting news a couple of months ago during the legislative session that we shared on here that now is in effect. Basically everything we've talked about in this show has been, hey, remember when we told you about that thing? Well, that thing happened. And here's a pretty cool thing that happened. If you are someone who would benefit from using medical cannabis in your life, but maybe you don't have one of the conditions that's listed on that short list of, I think, 16, 17 conditions that are allowed in Minnesota, now anyone with doctor's permission can become part of our cannabis program. You no longer have to have IBS or Crohn's or one of the diseases listed on there. It's now just, are you someone that a doctor says you'd benefit from cannabis? Here you go.
More like, do you live in Minnesota? Are you 21 plus? Okay. And that's about as much as they have.
During the medical debates a couple of years back, actually now over a decade ago, when we were looking at bringing medical to the state, one of the things that people were complaining about on the legislative floor was places like California, where anyone can walk into a doctor's office that's attached to a dispensary, get their med card, and suddenly now they can buy cannabis whenever they want. And, well, our program is definitely far off from being that. It's not that far off. where we are at the point where if a doctor, any doctor, says that you would benefit from cannabis, you can be a med patient. Now that's going to be not necessarily super meaningful a couple months, many months from now when we have adult use dispensaries open.
Yeah.
But if you're someone who is looking to buy cannabis and maybe has a boatload of cash right now, you can go to a medical dispensary and buy oils, flowers, all of that jazz.
Right.
In every congressional district. So
I mean, if you had a boatload of cash, you could fly to Bemidji
you could
and rent a car, and then you could go on a dispensary tour.
You could. And so I think I think the number of people that are going to be benefited by this change in the med program, I think is small. But I think it's an important step forward of, do we need your doctor and Governor Walz in the room when you're making decisions? Nah, maybe just your doctor.
Yeah.
Although if Governor Walz, I mean, that would be a cool doctor.
Right. No, I mean, it'd be an interest. Yeah, I don't think he would do it.
No. Sorry, he's a teacher.
I wonder how he's doing. I live nearby where Governor Walz is supposed to live.
Okay.
But he's been renting as his house gets remodeled.
Okay.
Maybe that's what's been taking the OCM so long to name a director.
There we go. Let's talk about that, and then let's smoke some weed.
Should we smoke some weed and?
Yeah. Let's talk about what we're gonna be trying here, and then we'll get to that news. So I went to the Island Pezi grand opening, as I mentioned. I got some flour. We got some high society flour here that we preloaded into this wonderful mighty device here that I'm going to go ahead and turn on.
And this came from White Earth Nation.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is grown up north, northern part of the state. It was then purchased by Island Pezi, who wholesale bought a ton of flour from them.
Right.
It came pre-packaged from them in that container.
Wabagon Mashkiki.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Mahnomen, Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
One of our sponsors and players at our trivia night, her name was Mahnomen.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
She works at Superior Cannabis Company.
Okay, now I remember who you're talking about. Totally.
And it's a city in Minnesota.
And that's where the flour that we're smoking today comes from. So what I think is neat is you can totally scan that QR code, brings you to a COA. You can see a little bit more about the testing. You know, it's nice knowing that the product that we're buying or that consuming is lab tested and grown here in the state.
Local and compliant.
Exactly. I'm a big fan of home grow. I do love a really good home grow product, but it is cool being able to walk into a store and buy this. Oh yeah, we'll get to that stuff in just a minute. We gotta pace ourselves.
Dude, so much great flour coming out of Minnesota.
So as you're hitting that, I can talk. That's the mighty plus that we're hitting. Now, yeah, people probably saw that on past episodes of the podcast because Source and Pickle has been a great friend of ours. People came out to some of our classes. We've had volcanoes. We've had other devices from them. They came to Canna Connect, got Canna connected with Storks and Pickle.
I love that it has the battery level on here, so you know where you're at.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Very, very helpful.
And this Mighty Plus is like a mid-range model.
Yep.
It's not the smallest, it's not the biggest, it's not the Volcano, but it's great for travel.
Totally. And it's one of those devices that every single time that I show it to someone, they're like, wow, that's bigger than my vape. But then they hit it and they're like, wow, all right, that's really cool. That's great. I love just the vapor that you get on this device. I mean, this isn't like a commercial for them. We're not, but truly, like, it's a great product.
Yeah. I don't have any problem promoting Stores and Pickle. They are sponsoring some things in August, which is really cool, and we can't wait to talk about it. But the products are amazing. They're medical grade, so you can. I mean, honestly, it's the healthiest way to consume cannabis on a regular basis, in my opinion.
Yeah. And made in Menominee, Minnesota. No, that's not true. Come from Germany. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Shout out to Stone America.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so moving on from the device. I love the device. Definitely highly recommend. But
thanks, Haley.
But let's talk about the flower itself. So, I mean, on that first note, I got a little bit of like a pepper, almost like a spiciness.
Yeah.
What are some of your initial takeaways? You've smoked a decent amount of weed in your life. You've vaped perhaps even more.
Yeah.
What are some of your thoughts?
It definitely opens me up. It doesn't like knock me out. I like the flavor. I noticed a little bit of a head high, maybe a little bit of a body high. Like I feel activated, energized. But it's not going to be like, whoa, I just lost my face right
I'm still waiting for the product that we eat the gummy and it's like, hold on. It hasn't happened yet. But, honestly, I think this is pretty good. It's I agree with you. I don't think it's anything that I'd hit and be like, wow, that's really putting me on my ass. But it's not terrible.
No, it smells good. I mean, the flavor is there. We're burning it we're vaping it at 385.
Yeah.
Which is good. You're still able to taste the terps.
Honestly, I don't think it's terrible. I think, I've definitely vaped stuff in my life that was worse. I definitely have vaped stuff that I thought was a little bit better. But what I think is cool about this is I know where it was grown. The nug, I mean, we'll put a little video in, but honestly, it's crazy dense. It really is beautiful.
Oh, there we go.
I love the look to it.
The second hit. Oh, you could definitely have some fun with this. Roll it in a joint. Share it with friends.
Yeah.
$45 an eighth. If you're looking for that legal compliant experience, I think they deliver.
Yeah. I think it's pretty cool. I'll be honest, because I know people will always ask about this, but you open the jar, there's not a ton of nose on it. Mind you, there is a Boveda pack in there, so that is going to
let's
yeah. All right. Let's throw it off. So I opened this jar. I was so excited to see the flower, and perhaps the one thing I was even more excited to see than the flower was this cute little adorable size 1 Boveda pack. Now, if you listen to our podcast, you heard them talk about the size 1 packs. Here it is, inside of a White Earth product that I purchased, keeping it right at that perfect 62% humidity.
Shout out to Boveda Mike, getting that deal and establishing a precedent that we want fresh flower. And a lot of times you don't smell the bag of peel until you break it open.
Exactly. And I gotta say, now vaping it, we're getting a lot more of that peel on it.
I'm enjoying the second hit. It's coming on a little bit more, so I think it's definitely a nice head high. Is this a hybrid sativa?
So this is a hybrid.
Okay.
Yeah. They, when I went, did not have any sativas for sale. They had hybrids in because I think as they get more product in, perhaps even looking at native care, perhaps getting product from there, I think we'll see wider variety. As of right now, it is sort of limited. When I went, I think they only had 4 or 5 types you could buy.
Yeah. Let's talk about the difficulty in getting information out on social media when it comes to menus and things like that. Social media is not your easy place to look things up.
No, unfortunately not. And it's been sort of challenging finding more information about this product because on their website, I'll be honest, it's sort of new. They don't have a ton of information about it. I can look up the cultivar on Leafly or something like that, but I mean, that's only so true. Yeah. So I think I'm excited to see what more information comes out. I will say, when I was waiting in line, White Earth was there. They had a booth. They had a booklet that I walked through, not their types of flower, but just what is cannabis? How do you consume it? What ways can you use it in your life?
Okay.
So they're clearly putting education at the forefront.
Yeah.
I hope they lean into that even more with their products.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see what these guys come out with.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so that was some pretty good flower. Recommend people go check that out. Island Pezi, hours south of St. Paul. Decently.
Treasure Island.
Yeah,
casino.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I was in line chatting. There were people behind me. They were talking about how they were going to go gamble afterwards.
Okay.
You want to make a whole trip about it? I had a friend who went down there, went on some of the beautiful hiking trails around there.
Yeah.
If you're got a couple hours to go and make an afternoon out of it, I think it's definitely worth the trip.
So we've got alcohol.
Yep.
We've got cannabis.
Yep.
We've got gambling.
Yep.
Want to talk about the OCM?
Let's do it. So
real quick.
It is July 19th. We mentioned that date a little bit earlier today. Another date that sticks out in my mind is early June. And the reason early June sticks out in my mind is because you go back to some of the early OCM, I mean, not even that early, just from a couple months ago.
Yeah.
They plan to have a new director named by early June and then in place, doing their job, ready to go by the summer.
Mm-hmm.
July 19th, nobody's been named.
There was Aaron Dupree.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, people probably remember they had someone named, I mean, we're going back to almost a year ago now. Naming someone didn't work out. She was selling non-compliant products. She ended up resigning. But now we're sort of in this fit where, the OCM was doing a lot of stuff, but where is Governor Walz in this one?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sort of, I'm a big Walz supporter. He's the guy who signed legalization into law. I support that. I have been disappointed by the lack of leadership in terms of making sure that this program gets rolled out. He appointed Charlene as an interim director. That's all that we've seen from leadership on that.
A respected, tenured government employee for the state.
For sure. Who I will give does have background in implementation, does have background in health, has no background in cannabis.
Right.
And I think, not that you need someone at the helm who's an expert or a PhD on cannabis, but I think having knowledge on the plant itself, having knowledge on what these systems look like in other states, yeah, you're leading and yeah, you're hiring and your main job isn't regulating cannabis, but creating systems. But I really, really would love for someone knowledgeable on cannabis to be creating those systems.
They're reluctant to hand off the duties.
I think they're really reluctant. And I think, you know, I understand the hesitation. I understand Aaron Dupree stuff did not go well. People are saying, hey, we got to make sure that doesn't happen again. But you've had so many months to try to move forward.
Yeah.
You got to have something.
There's been interviews had.
Yeah.
We have to assume that
they opened another round of applications.
Did they?
Like, what kills me is I've applied for a job before. I've had that job, or that potential job, reach out to me months later when I already had a new job.
Right.
And it's like, oh, yeah, no, I'm actually not looking anymore. I started a new gig. I have to think, yeah, probably some of those people who applied already have a job. They were looking for something new. But if I was a potential employer, or if I was potentially looking to get employed and it had been 8 months before someone reached out to me, why would I want to go and work there?
The sad thing is our friend really wanted to work there.
Yeah.
And he, looking back, he would have managed the job.
Yeah. So I think, you know, I'm forever the optimist on this show. I can never be the guy who ends on a negative note. But I think I'm waiting to see something from OCM that shows they're moving forward with this.
Yeah. Yeah, not a group from Maine.
No.
Not the team.
Nope. My school that I used to work at, no longer employed, hired a new executive director. The process was they had a bunch of candidates apply. A bunch of teachers got together, formed a panel. They reviewed the people, chose their 3 favorites.
Yeah.
Those 3 favorites went to the board. Not that, I get it, it's Governor Walz's choice at the end of the day. But, I mean, has he been presented with final choices? Has he been presented with anything? So many questions.
I think that this position is so important in the scope of the Midwest that as Governor Walz pays attention to what's happening in Washington and what comes next for our country, I put cannabis higher than any other change in our state right now as far as things that he needs to be careful, because he's jockeying for what his next job is.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's the OCM director.
Yeah, I think you're right about that one. Yeah. Yeah, I think it will be interesting. Yeah, it will be interesting to see what happens over the next couple of months. I would have loved to have someone named.
A name.
By now.
Mm-hmm. Because we're starting to wear thin with Charlene, and I don't think that's all her fault.
Yeah, no. Absolutely. Well, we're going to take a very short break here. Get back?
We're back, guys, and there's a lot to catch up on.
No, absolutely. Well, and I think it's so just like, I would have loved to have our first episode be like, hey guys, we're busting in the door. We've got licenses that have been issued. We've got new
products.
Director. We've got all this stuff. And instead it's like, well, I know a lot of people that are still awaiting verification. We're days out from licensure. We have no director aside from an interim director. And we have letters coming out telling us to not sell non-compliant products, as if that's the biggest.
Yes.
I think
it's not.
Yeah. Shout out to OCM for leading us through this, but man, I sure would be making different choices.
The industry touches so many aspects of our state. That's something that Laylee taught me early on, is that it literally affects every part of our state. And that's why there were so many committee hearings in 2023. It had to go through everything.
Yeah.
And Minnesota's not a small state. It's not a big state. It has the ability to make a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And it is very complex. But to have Aaron Dupree and Clennon Dabney, and now to have no one, it leaves us wondering why.
Yeah. And I think that's the big question that we're all asking ourselves. It sounds like we're at a shortage of qualified candidates. Why has no one been picked? Why is there no movement at all? I get that they were caught up with the legislative stuff. Maybe they didn't want to take focus away from like that effort. But the legislative session ended 2 months ago. Where is anything?
Mm-hmm.
As of right now, silence.
Well, they're clamping down, right?
Yeah.
That's where their attention is, because that they have jobs to do.
Yeah.
They're paid to do jobs.
Totally. And I get regulators are going to regulate, but I think what I'm missing is the leadership from the executive branch on making sure that the people in place making those decisions are knowledgeable on cannabis. Yeah. All right. Well, now we're actually going to take a short break here. When we get back, I got some gummies that I want to try, and who knows, maybe we'll try some more flour. I don't know. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.
Guess who's back? Jesse Ventura stepping out of the governor's mansion and into the greenhouse. Jesse the Body Ventura here, diving into my latest adventure, gourmet edibles that get you baked. Crafted right here in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, partnered with award-winning Retro Bakery. We're bringing you the finest broccoli edibles that can ship almost everywhere in the States. Yes, even yours. Tune in to see how we blend unrivaled flavor with a pinch of rebellion. Are you ready to join the Green Revolution with me?
Wow, I just got approved.
What?
Taking a break.
Hey, congratulations. That's awesome. You've got a license now? And we're back. Oh, man. Well, off of that fun conversation of the progress or sort of lack thereof out of the state, I'm excited to be busting into some edibles. Now,
The No Coast Cannabis State.
yeah, I've got a story behind these. Now, I went to Hemp House the other day. Shout out to Hemp House. Looking for some new edibles. Saw they had caramels because I part of their email chain. So they sent it out. They had a deal. Went and checked it out. And I walked in. And they go, Tanner, right? And I go, yeah. And they go, your buddy Steve was just in.
Yeah.
And I went, oh, yeah? And he had this big stack of flyers. And I went, oh, what are those? He goes, oh, have you heard of the Garrison Hemp Fest? And I went, oh, yeah, I've heard of it. He goes, do you want one of the flyers? I go, no, I'll give it to someone else. I'm going to be there. I already know it.
Shout out to Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. So just like, it was so funny walking in there looking for a new product and Garrison Hemp Fest.
Yes.
Not in Garrison, that store that I was in, but
where the hemp is Hemp House.
Yeah, where the hemp is Hemp House. But yeah, so No Coast, this is a line that they've had of in-house edibles for a while. We tried their gummies, we tried their cookies way back in the audio-only days. So
They actually make these themselves.
Yeah, which I think is pretty cool. I am a sucker for caramels, so I saw that they had blood orange caramels, 5 milligrams of THC and 5 milligrams of CBG in each one.
CBG Steve.
Yeah, so I gave my friend Steve a call and I was like, we gotta try these. So I'm gonna bust this open here. But yeah, I love seeing sort of the innovation in the industry where I like a good gummy, I like a good beverage, but trying to find something a little bit different.
Yeah.
Big fan of.
That's unique. It reminds me of a little bit of the Mellow brand. Oh, yeah. There they are, individually wrapped.
Individually wrapped caramels, I'll give that one.
Thank God.
Yes. Keeping us safe. All right. Wow, I love the color on it. Man, it's like almost like translucent. So that's
They're the type of caramel that's somewhere between soft and hard.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a medium squeeze to it.
Now, what's fun is we're going to put this in our mouth and then we're going to have to spend like a minute and a half chewing. So people are just going to get to watch like a sped up video.
No, I'm not going to do it. I'll keep talking.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'll give it a try and then we'll jump in.
My dentist, he's already mad about the man bread this morning.
All right, that's fair. My uncle's an orthodontist. Sorry. All right, here we go.
So Tanner is trying the No Coast Caramelts, blood orange variety. Oh, so how is the blood orange taste, flavor?
Super flavor forward on the blood orange.
Wow. Okay, so it's exploding a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's cool. For a caramel, I think, it's going to be caramel flavored. No, it's a caramel. I like that they didn't call it a Canamelt, because somebody made the joke the other day that like you can't actually make a cannabis company unless you say Canna in the name.
It's so true.
Shout out to Corey.
Wow.
Okay, talk about
That is crazy. So it's I would describe it as a blend between like a caramel and a Starburst.
Ooh.
Where like you put it in your mouth, that blood orange flavor bursts out.
Starburst.
Yeah, it's just like all of a sudden you're just getting intense, just like blood orange, like citrusy deliciousness.
Okay.
It sort of subsides a little bit. You've got this rich, smooth caramel flavor as like an afternote. Wow. That's
and there's
good.
CBG in it.
And I know. All right, so I gotta say, we try a decent amount of products on this show. There's a lot that I really like. I highly recommend these.
Highly
It is
recommend.
really, really good.
Sign up for the Hemp House email newsletter for the best deals.
Yeah, it says each caramel is infused with 5 milligrams of THC, 5 milligrams of CBG, offering a delicious and balanced experience. Treat yourself to a rich, creamy flavor. And they're right. It is very flavorful.
Wow.
And that afternote is very creamy.
Talk about it.
All right, so I'd recommend that. Check out Hemp House. I'm sure you can get Nose Coast products other stores as well, I imagine. Or is it a Hemp House exclusive?
I mean, if you're listening on your iPhone, type it in right now, No Coast Cannabis. You'll find it on Hemp House.
Yeah.
Online. Those guys kill it online.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where I would point that.
Well, and I should have answered this question before I'm asking it on our podcast. Could I get this delivered to me with DoorDash?
Yes,
All
you
right.
can. I was at Hemp House Wholesale the other day, and he brought up DoorDash. I have to assume that this delicious, tasty product might be on DoorDash.
Wow.
Skip the McDonald's.
Yeah.
Go with No Coast.
I saw Jen Riza post on Instagram the other day. Shout out Jen, North Star Law Group. And it was the screenshot of DoorDash in the first category, cannabis and THC. And it's just like,
Right.
wow, that's so cool seeing, like, not only can I get THC beverages, edibles, caramels brought to my doorstep, but that's what they're mostly pushing is.
Totally. New products.
Yeah.
That's one of the few things that is really heading in the right direction right now.
Mm.
We can all get behind this.
Yep.
5 milligrams at a time.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
So, 21 plus, Minnesota hemp, it's taken over.
Yeah, I think it's cool. Well, so that's really sort of all the major stuff that we've got for today. We just wanted to take a little bit out of our summer. We are on summer break still, but we wanted to fill you in on some of the news. We're going to be back in the fall with season 2 of Northern Lights, bigger, better, on our new studio. Super excited to share some stuff that we're not yet ready to leak. But guys, stay with us because Northern Lights is sticking in your feeds. Thanks for hanging out with us. We have a little bit of flour that I think we should end our show with.
Okay.
So, Kale, shout out Dabbler Depot, the whole crew here. I came in the other day and he brought me this bag and said, man, you gotta smell this. And I was like, all right, well, I'll give it a go. And I went, hey, who is this from? And he went, I think his name was Dave. And I'm like, oh, I know Dave. Dave Overtsloth on Instagram, a fire grower, came to some of our classes and oh shit, if this doesn't look good.
So good.
Now, what I think is incredible about this, that, not only does it visually look great, I'm all about that bag appeal, but I was given this by Kayla and he said, give it a smell. And I was like, and it just smells of rotten fruit, of just like rancid, like almost like feet. Like I don't know how else to describe it other than it's gnarly. So we're gonna pack the mighty here with a little bit of this to finish out our stuff. But man, Dave over at Slot, thanks so much for this. I just have to show it off one more time. This is incredible. Talk about a great grower, and I think people might have seen him at nearly every grow at home class that we taught at Minnesota Cannabis College. He's one of those guys who's always sticking around and asking some of those great questions, and shit, if it didn't turn into some high quality flowers. So we're gonna bust off a little bit of this here. And guys, enjoy the rest of your summer. We're looking forward to seeing you back in the fall, but for now, let's toke.
Mazel tov.
Thanks, guys. Oh, sheesh. Look at that.
Fuzzy.
That's insane.
It's like a turtle.
Northern Lights is a Minnesota Cannabis College production. This episode was produced by me, Tanner Barris, and by my co-hosts John Barty and Marcus Harkis. Production assistance from Shayna Payton and Steve Eigenman. Today's episode is presented by North Star Law Group, your trusted partner in Minnesota's burgeoning legal cannabis industry. The information provided in this podcast does not and is not intended to constitute legal advice, but is instead for general information purposes only. Information shared may not constitute the most up-to-date or legal information. No listener should act solely on the basis of information provided without first seeking their own legal counsel. The opinions and views expressed on this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect those of the Minnesota Cannabis College. Please listen responsibly.